This is video for M6 Paper 1, January 2020. So question 1, it says each term a letter is sent home if students are absent for more than 20% of days. Here is Peter's attendance record for year 12. How many letters were sent home for Peter? You must show all your working. So first of all, we're looking at the autumn term. So Peter was off for 15 days. So we check what 20% of 70 days would be. So 20% times 70 is 14 days. So Peter was off 15 days, so he was off more than 20% for the autumn. So that means he gets a letter sent home. The next one we look at is 20% of 54. And we find out that that is 10.8 days. And we look at, he had 4 days absent then, so that was under the 20%, so he doesn't get a letter sent home at that point. And the last one is 20% of 26, which is 5.2 days, and you can see he was off for 6 days, so he was above the 20%, which meant that he got 2 letters sent home. So question 2 says a sequence is formed using the rule find the next term by adding the previous 2 terms. Use this rule to complete the sequences below. So we've got 1 plus 7 is 8, then 7 plus 8 is 15, then 8 plus 15 is 23. So for question B, it's 3 plus minus 5, which becomes minus 2, minus 5 plus minus 2, which becomes minus 7, and minus 2 plus minus 7, which becomes minus 9. For question C, it's x plus 4, and that's it there for the first part of it. And then you have 4 plus x plus 4. So we're adding the 4 and the 4 together, which then becomes x plus 8. Then we have x plus 4 plus x plus 8. So that means we add the x's together to make 2x, and we add the 4 and the 8 to make 12. Okay, for question 3, it says 240 people are at the cinema. There are 150 children. 3/5 of the children are girls, 2/3 of the adults are male. Cara says altogether there are more females at the cinema. Is she correct? Show all your working clearly. So the first thing you would have to do is to get 3/5 of 150 children. So that means that because that question says 3/5 of the children are girls, we find out how many girls there were, and there's 90. Now, if there's 150 children, then 60 must be boys. Then the next part of it is we find out where the adults are. So it's 240 people at the cinema, so 240 take away 150, which is 90. So that means there's 90 adults. We take those 90 adults, and the question says 2/3 of the adults are male, so we find out how many males there were. We see 2/3 of 90 is 60. So because the adults are 90 people, then basically you just take it away. You know that 30 women would be left there. So 60 men and 30 women would make the 90 adults. So the question says, Cara says altogether there are more females at the cinema. Is she correct? So we add up all the females. So we have 90 girls and 30 women. And that's what we've got is 120 females. And then we add up all the males, which is 60 plus 60 is 120. So at the conclusion to this one is the answer is no, because there are the same number of males and females. So for question 4, it says Seb cycles from his home to his piano teacher's house on Saturday morning. So at the start of here is from his home to his piano teacher's house. He stays there for 30 minutes and then returns directly home. At what time did Seb leave his home? So you can see that's in between 9 and 9:10. So the answer would be 9:05. How long did Seb take to get to his teacher's house? So what you do is you would draw a line coming down here, and you can see that he got at teacher's house at 9:20 or 9:20. And if he started at 9:05, then it took him 15 minutes to get to his teacher's house. So Seb arrived home at 10:03, complete the distance time graph. So there was not a line here in the original question. So all you're doing is just finding out where 10:03 is and just drawing a line down there. So the second part of the question there is, what distance did Seb travel in total? So he travelled 8 kilometres to get there and 8 kilometres back. So that means he travelled a total of 16 kilometres. Now it said, did Seb travel home at a faster or slower speed? Explain your answer. Now there's a couple of ways you could do this. One, you could find out how steep the line is. They look pretty similar, so it's probably finding out he left his teacher's house at 9:50 and got there at 10:03, so it took him 13 minutes. Where this one took him 15 minutes to get to his teacher's house. So the 13 minutes was probably the fastest. So you can see there, the answer was faster because he took 13 minutes to return and 15 minutes to get there. So for question 5, it says the polygon ABCDF may be divided into triangles. One triangle is shown. So this triangle was shown in the original question, and I've drawn another 3 triangles there. So there's 4 triangles in total. Use the triangles to work out the sum of interior angles of the polygon ABCDEF. So the way to do that is you get 4 triangles here. Each triangle adds up to 180. So there's 4 lots of 180 there, which is 720. Now this is a 6-sided shape, which then has 4 triangles. If you had an 8-sided shape, it would have 6 triangles. And that's what you would multiply with 180. And that's the final answer, is 720 degrees. So for question 6, it's a probability question. So there are 2 boxes of counters. Each counter has a number on it as shown. Mike takes one counter at random from box 1, then one counter at random from box 2. Complete the table to show all possible outcomes of the counters. So you can see box 1 is 2, 2, 4, and 5, 2, 4, and 5, and box 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now take one from box 1 and one from box 2, so you can have 2 and 1, 2 and 2, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, and that's it here, 2 and 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. 4 and 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4. That's it there, and it's the same for 5. So once we've got all the numbers there together, the second part of the question says, what is the probability that Mike takes a counter with the same number on it from each box? So we can see there's one with 2, 2 there. There's one with 4, 4. And that's about the only ones that have the same numbers. And we have 12 different possibilities there. So it's 2 out of the 12. Or you could cancel that down to 1 over 6. Question C says the numbers on the counters taken are multiplied. What is the probability of this multiplication given an even number? Now if we look back on the question there, if we multiply with an even number, we'll get an even answer. So we'll get an even answer when we multiply those 2 numbers together and those 2. So those 4 here would be all even when multiplied together. All of those 4 would be even if we multiplied the 2 numbers together. and the only other two would be 5 times 2 is 10 and 5 times 4 is 20. So there is 10 numbers in this that can be multiplied. When multiplied together would give you even. So that's 10 out of the 12, which we have here, and can be cancelled down also. So on another day, Laura takes one counter from each box and multiplies the numbers together. She replaces the counters and does the same thing for a total of 30 times. How many times would you expect her to get an odd number answer? So for this one, I put 2 out of 12. Where I get 2 out of 12 is, if this is the probability for the even when multiplied together, you would only have 2 out of 12 if you multiplied them together and got an odd number. So 2 out of 12, and we cancel it down to 1 over 6. So we use this 1 over 6 and times it with the 30 times here. And then it's just basically 30 divided by 6, which is 5. So we have a final answer of 5. Expecting 5 odd numbers to come up out of those 30 times.